Let us jump in to a segment with a man who's here every week doing a great job all over the internet, all over America.
In my car on Sunday, listening to the Chiefs game, I just the dulcet tones. Oh, it was so good.
And going to be in D.C. this weekend for Bears and Commanders. Brian Baldinger joins us now.
Yes, I'm going to be there in D.C. I can't wait. I hope Jayden Daniels can play, but I kind of have my doubts about it right now, just the way he looked on Sunday.
Yeah, we feel the same way. It just seems like the early vibes, the early words sort of leaking out is that it doesn't look great for Jayden Daniels this week. Baldy, you had some great breakdowns breaking down this Commanders team, offense and defense, but just in your mind, knowing Marcus Mariota, who would play if Jayden Daniels can't, like what would be different, and how much would it really hurt the Commanders not to have this kid who's been just unbelievable so far this season?
Well, I would say before I watched Marcus play last week that there would be a tremendous drop-off. But honestly, it's the best game I've ever seen Marcus Mariota ever play, ever. Like going back to Oregon. I mean, he hit every receiver he was supposed to hit. Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz in the end zone. I mean, he ran it. He doesn't run like Jayden Daniels runs, but he still runs well enough. He doesn't have the quickness to elude, quick pressure the way Jayden does anymore. But he was really good. And now I don't know if he can sustain that because he hadn't played like that in years. But that was a good performance by Marcus Mariota. I just watching that game last week, I think Jayden Daniels got hurt in the first play of the game. I mean, he ran 46 yards on a read option down the moving sidewalk. And then when he got hit, he just didn't get up right. And then he was kind of grabbing that rib area, for the next 8 or 9 plays, whatever it was. So he didn't look good. And I don't know if those things heal in 1 week or not. I don't think so.
Well, and if you're Washington and I watched your Baldy breakdown where you're showing like he went down early on a run, right after that he's holding it on a throw,
and then they kept running the ball, right?
Right. So I guess then my question is like if you're gonna try to play him, depending on the severity of the bruise or whatever on his ribs, then you really can't institute half of the run plays that have made you so successful here these first 6 weeks, right?
Well, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury is pretty adroit now. Like they ran the ball 8 straight times to start the game from 8 different formations and 8 different runs. I mean, unbalanced right, unbalanced left, full backfield, pistol formation. I mean, they went after, they went after the opponents as much as you can. Carolina they're not a great defense by any stretch, but they went right down the field. So they'll have a game plan for Marcus and what he could do. He doesn't have the arm. He can't throw it down the field like Jayden Daniels can, but he can still throw it. And he was like, in fact, I remember going out there for, it was a mini camp, and I called Dan Quinn up to see if I could go watch. And the media he allowed me to come. So I went down there, and honestly, this was in June. Marcus Mariota in June was taking the number 1 reps on that team back then. So he got a lot of reps this past spring. So I think they'll cater the offense to whatever strengths he has. But I would expect the run game. They've got Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, this Jeremy McNichols. I mean, Mariota. They'll find different ways to run it with those 4 guys if Mariota's a quarterback.
Baldy, the Bears' run defense is getting better, but they've given up a bunch of big plays. I don't know who you think has the edge in this matchup when you look at up front, but like how big of a concern if the Bears lose this game? Do you think it'll be because they didn't stop the run?
Well, you're talking about Tony Pollard's 26-yard touchdown run, or Jonathan Taylor's 29-yard touchdown run, or Chuba Hubbard going 38 yards. They've been a problem, and they've given up. I went and looked at it earlier today. They've given up 20 runs of 10 yards or more. 10 yards of run is considered an explosive run, and that's in 6 games. So it has to be a concern. And, Washington is still, even with as well as Jayden Daniels is playing, they're a run-first team. And, the little-known secret about Cliff Kingsbury, the offense coordinator, is he likes to spread you out with this whole air raid look, but he really wants to run the ball. And that's what he did at Texas Tech. That's what he did at Texas A&M. That's what he did in large part at Arizona. And that's what he's doing now. So, if I'm Chicago, as much as McLaurin or Diami Brown or Zach Ertz, you got to pay attention to them. Like, you've got to stop their run first. There's no question about it.
Well, I don't know if this is more of like a hypothetical, but obviously somewhat of a storyline here in Chicago is how the Bears interviewed Cliff Kingsbury for the OC job. The connection he had with Caleb Williams, and Caleb just said this morning in his press conference, like, essentially Cliff Kingsbury's job there was to get him ready for the NFL. So, I mean, there was a world in which you could have continued that in Chicago, but we're also living in a world where right now it's working with Shane Waldron. He's making progress. His offense is getting better every week. How do you think this offense would look if in an alternate universe, Caleb was with Cliff Kingsbury in Chicago right now?
It would look different. It would be like Washington has been just wide open all year. Obviously Chicago started off, pretty, it was pretty sketchy at first. But I would say this. I mean, Cliff's had a much better offensive line from the beginning. Tyler Biadasz was a big-time signing in free agency. He was a quality center in Dallas. He's the leader up front. And they have largely been healthy for all their games. So they rotate their left tackle, Sean Coleman, a rookie, and Cornelius Lucas. But otherwise, the other four guys, I think, have played every snap. So they just have a lot more continuity to work with. They brought in Allegretti, from Kansas City, and Biadasz, and they drafted Sean Coleman. So, I just think they've had a lot more continuity up front to kind of get their offense jump-started a little quicker. How it would look different? I think it would be more creative than what we have seen. Although we have seen more creativity in the last 2 weeks. Cliff is just going to give you a lot of looks, a lot of stuff with motions. Even last week, unbalanced line right, unbalanced line left. Running away from the unbalance, running to it. He just gives you a lot to look at, probably a lot more than what Shane does.
Are you seeing the Bears improve up front, Baldy? Flus was asked about that briefly today, that, any changes on the O-line? No, we're sticking right there. Matt Pryor seems like he's settling in at right guard.
I'm happy for Matt. He's worked at it. He's kind of been bouncing here. I remember talking to him over at Lane Johnson's barn 2 years ago, and he was a free agent. Like, he had nothing. He was out of the Indy cut him. He was on the street, and I said, "Look, I'll make a few calls." I wasn't pretending to be his agent, but he came back with two teams, San Francisco and Chicago. And I said, "Go to San Francisco." Nothing against the Bears. I said, "Go to San Francisco and just watch how they work and how they practice and how important practice is. Just get a year." And he didn't really play at all last year. And then San Francisco let him go, and he had a chance to go back to Chicago. And it's worked for him. I think he's their biggest lineman. He's incredibly big. Size matters. He's playing pretty good. Like, he's got weaknesses to his game. He's not a finished product. But he's played increasingly better these last 3 weeks. And I think him and Wright on the right side are starting to look pretty good. So I think he's been a stabilizing force right now. It might all fall apart for him. Matt's had issues, not just from a consistency standpoint. He's a great kid. But he's had consistency issues. But he's been well coached by Jeff Stoutland in Philadelphia. He's like, you can't coach that size. He was well coached at TCU. Maybe this is his time. Maybe this is his place right now.
Baldy, that's super interesting, because that's now two players that we know of that went to San Francisco for a year. The other I'm thinking of is Sam Darnold, who I was very fascinated to see how he comes out this year after sort of getting that internship with Kyle Shanahan last year, if you want to call it something like that. But two guys that didn't play a lot that clearly benefited from it. You were in San Francisco, or Santa Clara technically, on Sunday. They're going through their own struggles right now too. But what do you think is the biggest thing that guys are getting when they go spend a year with Kyle Shanahan?
Well, what you get is you get a real, just a really well-constructed franchise. They do everything the right way. And you get stability, all right, from the owner. I saw Jed York the other day, from the owner to John Lynch, the GM, the support staff. They do everything the right way. A lot of these guys haven't been in those type of places before. Chicago's trying to get that. They haven't had it in forever. So they're trying to get that. So a player goes to San Francisco, and there's a way that you do things. There's a way that you practice. Kyle practices guys hard. He doesn't go light on anybody. Maybe Trent Williams might get a day, a veteran day, but like you go out there and you practice hard. Preparation's important. Meetings, being in the right place. Like you realize, like there's almost a militaristic feel to how you get things done and how you improve, and the value placed on practice and benefiting from good practices for every position. And some of these guys, if you've been in with the Jets or Carolina, some of these places that say Sam Darnold's been, like it's all you see is change. And so you don't really ever get that feel that this is a model franchise. I think guys that go there, they benefit from being around that atmosphere and everything. Pre-game warm-up, watching them warm up in pregame. They do everything the right way. Now they're struggling, so it's like it doesn't always work. And I think they'll come out of this thing. Like the injuries have really caught up to them and whatnot. But they give you a real good chance if you've been bouncing around as a player to kind of say, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be done.
You know, Baldy, watching Cole Kmet, obviously we're a little biased here because he's a teammate of ours here at CHGO Bears. But, you know, watching him run the DB over into the end zone for the touchdown, I turned to my wife in the stands. I said, he is the leader of the Chicago Bears. He doesn't miss a game. He doesn't miss practice, carries himself the right way. He's been through the mud, some bad years here in Chicago. Yeah, is that what you're seeing here with Cole Kmet? Because I just feel like he's emerging not only as a top tight end in this league, but the top leader on this Chicago Bears team as well.
I don't think there's any question about it. You know, the fact that he's been through different coaches and offensive coordinators and, you know, the whole thing, GMs, he's seen it all. So, but he's a pillar. You want to build your franchise around certain people and how they conduct themselves, how they perform. Like he's that guy. And, you know, it was a good draft pick. Wasn't always used properly, but we're seeing even last year. You know, he had a good season last year, but he has a chance. You know, he has a chance to be a Pro Bowl type tight end. He just does. So I'm happy for him because you never heard a complaint come out of his mouth. I mean, I'm not listening to him every day like you guys are, but you know, you'd want to be a teammate of Cole Kmet.
Love Cole to the end of the earth. Fantastic. But there's this guy, Caleb, who's the quarterback, Baldy, who might be pretty important to the Bears' success going forward here. Hey, what do you liking most about what you're seeing from Caleb the last couple of weeks?
Well, I think he's been very humble. You know, they won 3 in a row, but he's been very humble. You like to see that. He knows he hasn't done anything in his business yet. So, like, he's not full of himself. I don't believe he is. I know he wants to get better. I know he's in touch with his quarterback coach after every game, just kind of picking himself apart. I think he's probably his harshest critic. But I think you're seeing just the beginning of what I think can be, you know, a really good career. We've seen some fantastic splash plays, but now we're seeing some consistent play. And you just want to see it. A lot of teams struggle coming out of this bye, time off, lose the rhythm, won 3 in a row, had a long trip to London. Like you want to be able to see him come out and execute, you know, from the jump here on Sunday against Washington, who has a very good defensive front. I think there's some real questions on the back end of their defense. Their pass rush has gotten better. They've got some talented players over there. But I want to see him go out there on the road after a week off, play really good football. And that's what I just continue to improve. And we've seen that 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row right now in small increments. But we're starting to see the guy, I think, that, you know, earned that right to be the number 1 pick in this draft.
Hit the like button for Baldy, hit the like button for Caleb, hit the like button for Cole.
Yeah, and Baldy, just a couple more for you. And I kind of go along with what you're just saying. That's why I think this is a pretty important game for the Bears. I mean, you sort of arrived in London, but now you have a bye, and this is a winnable game. I mean, but I also think it's going to be a good game. I think it's a good matchup for a lot of different reasons, but it is winnable. And if you had to ask me right now which unit you trust more, the Bears defense or the Commanders defense, I'd pick the Bears defense. So I feel like that's an edge that they have in this football game, but you got to go out and do it. How do you look at the Bears right now in terms of a true threat in the NFC? Because I feel like this is a game where if they come out and they execute and they put together 4 quarters, they're going to start to be taken more seriously in the NFC.
Well, they're now entering really the meat of the schedule. So, like, I think one guy I think that you're going to see really pick up the pace here. He's been is Keenan Allen. Like, he's going to see Mike Sanristel this week. He's the rookie out of Michigan. He's their slot corner. Like, I just feel like if Keenan Allen's matched up with this guy, like, there's no way he's not going to win and win quickly. There's just no way. And, he's been banged up, hadn't done a whole lot yet, but I think that's a guy that I think that they can feed. And you can get first downs. You can move the sticks. Like, that's just one guy. But this is the meat of the schedule right now. It's wide open. Detroit lost Aiden Hutchinson. They're not going to be the same defense without him. Jacksonville goes up to Green Bay this weekend. Look, Jacksonville's got a terrible record. But if you look at them right now, Brian Thomas is the best rookie receiver in this league. It's not even close. He's difficult to guard. And now Evan Ingram is back, and Christian Kirk has his role, and Tank Bigsby's the starting running back. Like, they look like a different offense to me right now. And Trevor's playing a lot better. Like, if they go up and they beat, like, Houston could have easily beaten Green Bay last week. They let it slip away. So these games are down to the final drive. They're fourth quarter games. Like, how you play in the fourth quarter right now, if you can make that play, not make the play, like, it's coming down to a couple plays in the fourth quarter. I expect it to be like that in Washington on Sunday. So, we might not know the finality of this game until, I don't know, 6:30, 6:45 on Sunday. Like, can you make the play at the end of the game, offensively or defensively, to win these games?
Hey, real quick, Baldy, does Montez Sweat look healthy to you? I don't know how much you've keyed in on him, but if you have, do you have an opinion on that?
I haven't noticed anything that says he isn't, but I mean, I would go back and rewatch the end of his last game in London there to see.
I'm just saying.
We haven't heard anything major. He did have a toe earlier this year, and
his production's been down. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Well, Javon Dexter keeps beating him to the quarterback, right? So, I guess my final thought, just because I was fascinated by your highlight of Kingsbury's 8 different runs with 8 different looks and how they'd run counter, but then run away from the counter. So from a defensive perspective, because I just think this is the key to the game, is how they handle these run looks. How do you not fall into those traps of following the counter when it's going to go to and just stay home and run what you're running and don't worry about the looks they're giving you?
Well, it's a little bit like, honestly, it's like trying to stop the Naval Academy or Army right now, with triple option type football. And if you get caught up with all the window dressing and the movement, then you will get beat. But their defense is a gap defense. Like, if you get in your right gaps, like, you should be able to stop the counter if it goes strong side or the misdirection counter going to the other side. You should be able, in theory, be able to stop it all, especially if you're walking down your safety and you've got an 8-man front and you can actually fill every gap. Now, you might be one-on-one on the outsides against McLaurin, Dimey Brown, or Luke McCaffrey, whoever, but you got to be able to hold up. But in theory, your defense should be able to handle everything if you're playing it right. Now, if you start chasing ghosts, like the Panthers did in the first play, the quarterback's going to go 46 yards, right out the back door, and nobody's going to be there. So, and that has happened to the Bears. So it's really a question of just being extremely disciplined in your approach right here.
Baldy, enjoy the game on Sunday. We're looking forward to it, and can't wait to talk to you next week after we see how it all goes down.
Yeah, I can't wait either, guys. I can't wait for Sunday. It's going to be special. It's going to be a special afternoon out there. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Baldy, of course, at Baldy NFL. We love talking to him every single week.
We all silly like the mayor.